So, hi everyone listening to wherever you're listening on, either 88.7 The Bay FM or on MuskokaUnlimited.com. Thanks for listening. Today I have a very special guest, the wonderful Miranda Mulholland, and thank you for coming and joining us on this day.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so pleased.
And so, Miranda, we're here specifically to talk about the Muskoka Music Festival upcoming in August. And I guess my first thing is, you're the executive director, right? And or go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm the founder and artistic director. Yeah.
Okay, artistic director. There you go. And so, as the artistic director and also a performer, so you're going to grace one of the stages and perform as well. And how do you, when you're trying to get the vision of who you want playing in the festival, who you want to bring in, what's kind of your thought process? Do you have a theme in mind, or is it just kind of like who's cool and hot at the moment?
Yeah, well, I have the benefit, I guess, of being an artist myself. So I get to play a lot of festivals. I go to a lot of shows. I see a lot of music. And so I have my own discoveries along the way, or artists that I think are really incredible or up and coming, or people who maybe Gravenhurst hasn't had a chance to see yet. So that's sort of one of the biggest focuses. And then obviously for our headliner, we want someone, who has a name, who can draw, someone who I look up to. And this year is the queen of all queens. It's Lorena McKenna, who is she's just such a musical hero of mine and a personal friend, and I'm just so honored that she's coming to Gravenhurst. So it all kind of coalesces to around, yeah, what Lorena, who the headliner is, and then who I kind of think would suit that, and
Yes.
maybe try to have a bit of a scope. So there's a little something for everyone this year. I think the lineup's really interesting.
That's awesome. And I love how you do that. You're like, I'm touring, I'm out there, I'm in the scene. And so I find people that I'm friends with, that I connect to musically, that I connect to personally, and I try and see if they can come and then build from there. That's great. And Lorena, she's well known. Like when I saw the name, I was like, I know that name. I was like, that's cool. But I noticed you have like even a couple local people involved as well, which is really nice for you to be able to mix and match, right?
Well, one thing that Canada does really well, and I know this from 20 years of touring and being in festivals, is there are they call them workshops, but we're calling them songwriter circles at our festival, and where you have a mix of different artists. So for the hour, it'll be three different artists who come, and each of them play a couple songs, and they sort of trade off, and sometimes they jump in on other people's songs. This is a very Canadian thing. I think it originated at Mariposa Folk Fest, however many moons ago. But one of the things that's a huge benefit to artists, and I've certainly benefited, is that we have an emerging artist or a local artist who's then alongside a national touring artist or international artist, and then suddenly you get these cool friendships that pop up, these interesting musical collaborations, and also just a way to kind of build your network and your profile and meet new fans. So I'm really thrilled that we're going to do that again this year. It was really popular last year. And yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about you could be a local artist, but you're playing next to, a nationally touring artist who you hear on the CBC or Hunters Bay or
Yeah.
88, so it's really exciting.
No, and that's awesome. I love that. And you're right. The Canadian scene, I think in almost every scene, whether it's music or TV or like any entertainment, even sports, whatever, like there tends to be that less kind of I'm a big star and you're little. It's more like we're all creators together in this, big world. And I think it's a real Canadian thing, like you mentioned, where we all kind of just we get along and it's like, doesn't matter how big or famous you are, you're still that kind of, small town person in the sense, right? In your core,
Yeah,
and
I think
so,
there's a joke about Canadian celebrities, they need name tags. And I kind of love that because it's true.
it's a good one. It's true. It's true. That's great. So how many artists are going to be performing? Because it's a 2 or 3 day event, right? So it's 18th
Yes.
to the 20th. Is that what it is? Yeah.
That's right. So 3-day event
Yeah.
on all of the performances down at Dockside at the wharf. They're all
Yeah.
free. So I think we have about 20 performers and different bands and different configurations. So over the course of 3 days, that's a lot of artists coming
Yes.
through. We'll have a kids zone as well. And
Nice.
and all these beautiful artisans. So we took over Dockside. Our last year was last year. Last summer was the first year we did both together. We were running them as sister festivals
Yeah,
because they are different, but they have the similar mandate. So again, we've got 50, 60 artisans who come and display their wares and their beautiful things, and we've tried to select a really, again, like the artists, try to select a
yeah,
really interesting wide range of artisans. So from woodworking to fine art to jewelry,
nice.
some great gourmet food. I always like the food myself. And we've got Sawdust City beer as well. So there's something
Oh,
for
great.
everyone. Yeah.
Great. Well, and Sawdust City is a great, they're a great sponsor and supporter of local events all over the place. So that's wonderful that they're up on board again. And I noticed they're always involved. They're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Now, now this was like the Muskoka Music Festival in Gravenhurst. Now, I read somewhere something. There's a connection to the Sawdust City Music Festival. Is that
Well,
something?
yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I started the festival, and this was 20. When I had the idea, it was 2016. So very
Yeah.
different landscape. And my great great grandfather was the mayor of Gravenhurst, but he
Nice.
also owned the sawmill,
Yes.
which gave Gravenhurst this nickname, Sawdust City.
Yeah.
And so, so I started it as Sawdust City Music Festival,
Nice.
and then as the brewery company got so much bigger and successful, which is amazing.
Yes.
There was just so much confusion, and people would call the brewery and say, tell me about the festival. And I thought, oh no,
Yeah.
this is getting confusing. So we rebranded in 2019 as
Nice.
Muskoka Music Festival. And as the music festival, Muskoka Music Festival, we have a little bit more autonomy. We can present shows off season, so on shoulder seasons. We could do a
Gotcha.
concert series. There's other things that we can do, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be in Gravenhurst. We can promote in Bracebridge or
Yes.
Huntsville and different things, and work with like Huntsville Festival of the Arts. I love Dan
Yeah.
Watson up there, but there's
Yeah.
sort of it's a what nowhere, so
Yes.
Muskoka Music Festival. So we were excited about that, and then pandemic hit.
You
But throughout the
know.
pandemic, we commissioned some really beautiful
Yes.
music videos that played in front of movies at the drive-in, the Muskoka Drive-in. So
Oh, I remember hearing about that. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so we kept artists employed and some filmmakers employed, and tried to make sure that as many people we could help as possible. But we're happy to be back in person.
Well, in person is always better,
Oh God, yeah.
right? Right. So, I mean, I'd much rather walk through a set of vendors and then stop and watch and listen and watch someone perform and listen to their music and just get that vibe and the feeling, the emotion that you get from in person viewing and listening
Yeah.
and touching and tasting and smelling and everything. Right. So, no, it's so much better to be back in person and rocking and rolling. And I love the idea you melded the two festivals, the Dockside Festival of the Arts and Muskoka Music Festival, because it really does kind of fit, right? And so one thing I was gonna say, with you performing, do you feel like is it like hard for you to kind of be like, oh man, I'm the artistic director and I'm kind of in charge of everything, but man, I still have to perform. I still have to get a set together. How do you kind of balance all that?
Yeah, well, I don't usually like to do both because of that exact reason. And I have an amazing team. I have this incredible team, all women, super strong, incredible
Nice.
women. So, I don't worry about that anybody dropping anything at the helm. They're always in charge. They're fabulous.
Yeah.
But this year, I just had a lot of requests for me to do something, and so I'm just doing one of the songwriter circles. So I'm gonna get to sit in with a couple of other artists and play
Nice.
a couple songs. I mean, it's very low profile, I should say, but I've got a new solo album coming out, and I'm doing a bunch of underplay and seeing what songs land and stuff. So
Nice.
for me, I mean, it's nice to have. I hope people don't feel it's too nepotistic, but I feel like I have a festival. I just wanted to sit in with some pals and play some songs. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be fun. And again, pretty low key for me.
Yeah, I know, but that's okay. So you're still, yeah, like you said, you're still gonna be low key. You're only gonna do a couple songs with some friends and enjoy the whole spirit of what a music festival is supposed to be about, which is the music and friends and everyone having fun together and enjoying the time. but still be able to keep your fingers on the pulse and see what's happening, and know that, make sure everything's going as it's supposed to be, right? Now, are you
Yeah.
looking for volunteers for that day or anything? Is there people in the community that can, reach out and be like, I can volunteer and help out? Are you looking for that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to put a call out on our website very soon, but here's a call out. You can find us at docksidefestival@gmail.com. We will be yeah, putting a call out for volunteers. We would love to have volunteers. Obviously, it means so much to us when people come and join our team and hang out with us and meet the artists and artisans, and it's things are only as good as what people put in. You get out what you put in, and I love the community of Gravenhurst. Everyone's been so amazing and welcoming, and incredible. I've been going to Gravenhurst since I was an embryo,
Yeah.
so I feel like an honorary Gravenhurster. But but I think volunteers is awesome. It's a cool opportunity and super fun, and we had a great time last year. So yes, please, anybody who would like to volunteer, 18th to 20th of August,
Yes.
down by the wharf. Hear some great music, eat some good food.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you.
No,
My
that's
team's
awesome.
amazing.
That's awesome. And because it's a free community event, that's why I brought it up. Having been part of lots of free community events over the years, I was like, I'm sure they need volunteers to help that, because you know what I mean? So that's why I brought that up. And that's great. And people should volunteer. It's a great way. I'll tell you, as someone who, like, I'm the vice president of the soccer club in Huntsville. As obviously a volunteer. I volunteer coached. I've done events over the years, all kinds of stuff where I volunteered for, outside of the sporting realm. And it's a wonderful feeling. You meet some great friends, you meet some wonderful new people, you feel good and productive about what you contributed to your community, and it makes you feel a little more attached. So I totally support volunteering, and I hope people do call you and volunteer and email you and get involved, because that's really a fun thing to do. And you don't have to be from Gravenhurst. You can be from anywhere in Muskoka to volunteer. So,
Absolutely. You can be from hell, you can be from Toronto, you can be from
yeah,
wherever. You
anywhere.
can be from North Bay. Come down and
True.
volunteer.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. That's awesome. So I think that touched a lot of my questions. I have one last question, but before I get to that, is there anything you wanted to mention about the festival that people should know?
Well, yeah, I think you touched on it, but I'd love just to reiterate just that the festival is by donation down at the wharf
Mhm.
for the weekend. So 10 to 6, 10 to 6, and 10 to 4 on
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we're really excited to have that opportunity to share all this work and all this beautiful art with the community.
Yeah.
And then we have our main stage, which is Lorena McKennett at the Opera House. The single tickets are sold out at the moment. Our weekend packages are sold out, but we still have a couple of VIP packages which get you a bunch of sort of special opportunity to meet and greet artists, and there's a whiskey tasting and
Yeah.
a private concert that you get with the VIP, and so
Yeah.
those are the only tickets left for the Lorena show and plus plus plus.
Okay.
But
Nice.
but everything else is by donation down by the
Okay.
wharf.
Awesome. Awesome. And so here's my last question. And it's a question I always ask people, because especially when there's an event or a show. Um, if I had no idea about your show, I was just some stranger from outer space, whatever, right? And I come and I say, Miranda, why should I come to the Muskoka Music Festival? What would you say to me?
I would say you should come to the Muskoka Music Festival and Dockside Festival because you're gonna find some new favorites and hear some old favorites, and maybe fill your Christmas list in August and be ahead of the game because the vendors are incredible.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I always ask that question, and some people are like, "Oh wow, how do I say that?" But you had the answer. I love it. That's awesome. Well, Miranda, I really thank you for your time today. This has been very informative for myself, for our listeners. You can read about it, because I'm going to write an article about it on top of sharing the audio everywhere we can share it. And look for that in the next week or so. And I'll touch base with you, Miranda, and let you know when it's posted and when you can read it. And everybody, Muskoka Music Festival and Dockside Festival of the Arts, August 18th to August 20th. Check it out in Gravenhurst at the wharf, and then VIP packages left for the Raina McKenna show at the Opera House. Did I
That's
hit it
right.
all? Did I think
That's
of?
amazing. MuskokaMusicFestival.com. You can check out all the rest of the info. It's awesome. Thank you so much for
There you
having
go.
me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks, Miranda. Have a great day.
Bye. Take
Bye.
care.